I don't think it matters who you are, where you're from. It's just very, very nice.
Who did your dress, and also your hair is very different from...
Thank you. Miles Haddad is the hairstylist. Prada was nice enough to give me the dress. The jewelry is Neil Lane, with the exception of the ring, which is mine. And the shoes are J.P. Todd, so there you have. And the makeup was Joanna Schlipp, so there are my credits.
Okay. Laura?
It's you know, it's nerve-wracking for everybody, I'm sure, and I've tried over the past year to enjoy it more than I have in the past and not just be so stressed about it. I'm not someone who comes to fashion easily. It is something that I've grown into slowly, and I'm continuing to do so. So I'm glad that I'm enjoying it more.
Laura, now that you're a winner, what's the worst job you ever had?
What's the worst job I ever had? I've been very fortunate. I was in school for a very, very long time, until I was 26 years old. So the only job I've had other than what I'm lucky enough to do is I waited tables in New York. And that was, you know, waiting tables. It wasn't dreadful, but, you know, it wasn't awful, and it brought some money. And so I've been very lucky that way.
Laura, back here. Hi. Back all the way in the back this way.
All the way in the back.
Yes. Hi,
Hello.
how are you? You look lovely.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I wanted to ask you, what was
about winning an Emmy when I read that script, because it was very unusual, and Kent Broadhurst, our writer, did a beautiful job. It's complex and it's very difficult. And Dan Petrie Sr., who is our director, who I forgot to thank, and I am mortified, is really the one who put all the balances in it. And Jenna is just, you know, one of the greatest actresses alive. So, but it always starts with the script, and it was a very good one from the very beginning.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
All right. I loved you in Searching for Bobby Fischer and Primal Fear. I don't know if people forgot about your work in Searching for Bobby Fischer.
That brilliant one scene.
It was brilliant.
The concerned school teacher.
Yeah, it was great. What's your favorite film that you were in, like, for you to watch? What do you enjoy the most? I
have a very hard time watching myself. I have to wait at least 5 years before I can look at something. Otherwise, it's just too. I just have a hard time doing it. If 5 years go by, then I look back and go, oh God, look how young I was. And I like them all for different reasons.
And what are you thinking right now? Just what are you thinking?
I'm thinking I didn't thank Dan Petrie. That's what I'm thinking.
Go for it.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yes.
With Vanessa Redgrave, Angela Bassett, Jenna Rollins, is that like astounding to you at this point?
Yes. I mean, it was astounding just to be invited to come here in their company. And you feel a little awkward, as thrilled as you are to win, but acting is not a competitive sport, so it's strange. And while I'm extremely grateful and very happy to have this, don't get me wrong, you feel odd, but it's nice that, you hope that everyone will feel good about it. I don't know. It's awkward.
Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks.
Now we're ready for the outstanding made-for-television movie, that is The Gathering Storm. And we're ready for the first question.
G'day, Ridley.
G'day.
Ridley Scott to your left. How are you, mate?
I'm all right, mate.
Now, what do you like better? Is it making like The Gladiator, Black Hawk Down, those big films, or telly? What do you like better?
I like all filming. I'm doing a comedy right now, small movie. Love it.
What are your home movies like?
Sorry?
What are your home movies like? Big scale?
My home movies?
Yeah, like on holiday trips and stuff.
I'm technical. I can't even start a computer.
So what's the comedy that you're working on at the moment?
Nick Cage, Sam Rockwell, Alison Lohman, Matchstick Men, two very amusing, low-life con men who consider a good day taking $2,000 in the valley from some poor housewife.
That's a bloody good plot.
Ridley, can you tell us the difference between going to the Oscars and going to the Emmys?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Could you tell us, is there a difference between going to the Oscars or going to the Emmys?
I'm going deaf. Black Hawk Down, actually. I'm deaf in the right ear. Can you repeat that?
Is there a difference between going to the Emmys and the Oscars?
No, it's actually very similar. Very similar. I see a lot of familiar faces in here as well, so it's very similar.
Question, how... Right here.
Just keep talking.
Okay. On The Gathering Storm, first of all, how important of a film was that for you and for this team?
Well, being British, 1, 2, 3. He's definitely half British. Okay, look at him. Okay, so being British is very important. It's part of my generation. I was a war baby. I sat under the stairs while I was bombed every night at Ealing, singing Old MacDonald Had a Farm, where my mother made cocoa. And we'd come out in the morning and half the street would be missing. My dad was War Office, and he was involved very much in the planning of Mulberry Harbour, and so regularly, he worked finally in the bunker near Admiralty Arch, which is now a museum. But regular occurrences, Winston would appear at 11 o'clock at night, 1 in the morning, with his cigar. They always smell the cigar first, then the brandy. And he'd come in his siren suit to see how the boys were doing. And so my dad always used to tell me these stories, and so that always kept me interested in this particular character. So when this evolved and came up, I thought, absolutely, we must do this, because it's, you know, it was the most significant war probably of the 20th century.
Churchill is such an icon in history. I mean, is there a fear here of portraying him and the back, you know?
Not if you get a talent like Albert Finney, no. And a team Richard Longcrane put together, no, there's no fear attached to that. Clearly it's a challenge, but I think what Hugh Whitemore did by exploring the personal side of I know he said Albert, of Albert Churchill's life, was really a smart thing to do, where the personality of Winston and Clemmy comes to the fore, so we understand who he is and how he starts to deal with world events, because in fact we're working on part 2 now, which will take us through the war years. That would be really interesting, because remember, this ends as he is reinstated into the Admiralty. All right? Any other questions for these people?
Actually, former New York Mayor Rudolph Giuliani is here right now. We're ready for you.
How are you?
Well done. Good speech. You mentioned how much money the whole thing raised for the victims, for the families. How much did it actually come out to be?
Well, I can tell you from my own fund, which I know probably the best, we've raised almost $200 million. We've distributed $160 million of the $200 million, and the rest of it, or almost all of it, will be distributed before the holidays. So I think people who donated should know that in the case of the families of the firefighters and the police officers and the rescue workers, Most of that money has already been distributed. I know there's a lot of confusion about that, but and the networks did that tribute and memorial and that whole effort on their own. No one asked them to do it. That wasn't suggested by the federal government or the city or the state, or they just decided to do it, and then they told us they were going to do it, and it was really a very, very important statement. The money was important, but beyond the money, it was the statement of support. It made people not feel isolated.
Is there a way to isolate how much money was raised from that one telethon?
I don't know the exact amount because it was given to several different charities, so I can only tell you the one that I was involved with.
Do you have any guess about the telethon?
I don't know the exact amount
Rudy.
that went to all the different charities.
What
Back
do you
here.
think that telethon did for this country?
I went to college with you.
Let me see. Oh, you look a lot younger than me, though. You couldn't have gone to college with me.
College.
You're a Jasper.
Frank Swartlow.
Of course. How are you, Frank? Good to see you.
I'm good. We're both standing.
We're both standing and we're kicking, right?
Damn right.
You got nicer socks than I do, though.
Pull yours up.
Mayor Giuliani, right here.
Yep.
Last year, the Emmy Awards there was a very solemn feel to it. This year, it appears to be we're back, return to glamour. I'm wondering how you feel about the change in all of this over the course of the year.
Yeah, that isn't that what you would expect would happen? I mean, last year, it was very, very close in time to that horrific attack and terrible tragedy. Now, it's a year ago. We're still very, very sorrowful and very mournful, but we realize that life has to move on. That I know is what the heroes that died on September 11 would want to say to us. Life has to go on. You remain sorrowful, you remain mournful, but you go ahead with your life, and that is what I think was represented tonight, that life is moving on, America is moving on, and we'll always remember the people we lost, but we have to move forward with optimism.
Mayor Giuliani, right here, right here. You had to plow through this. You were, I'll stand up here.
Oh, there you are, okay.
Hi, how are you? You had to just go through this. You didn't have time to think about what you were doing. You did this in an unbelievable way. At what moment, though, did you finally stop, and at what moment did it hit you what had really happened where you could break down?
Different times, but only for fleeting seconds. In other words, as I was going through it, I would stop for a moment and think, this experience is horrific. I'm not sure we can get through it. I'm not sure I can get through it. And then I would just say to myself, we have to. And then I would move ahead. It was no one moment. It was things that would just occur to you as you were going along. But in a way, I didn't have a choice. It was easier for me. I was the mayor of New York City. I had no choice but to move ahead. I didn't have time to reflect on what I was doing, and the only thing I could do is ask God, hope I made the right decision. I would say, God, I hope I made the right decision. Please help me.
Rudy, straight in the back,
Yep. Uh-huh.
Back to tonight. Describe for me, if you can, your personal feeling when you walked out on stage and there's so few standing ovations and you received one of them tonight. Describe that feeling.
My feeling was that the standing ovation was not for me personally. It was for the people of New York and the people of America that had to deal with this tragedy and attack. The people who had to respond to it immediately, the people over the next 5, 6, 7, 8 months that had to engage in the recovery effort, who in many ways are just as heroic as the people who responded in the first place. So whenever that happens, I feel as if I'm really just a representative of a lot of other people, in some cases who did much more difficult things than I had to do.
How does that feel, having all of that responsibility, if you will, as being the moniker or the spokesperson or at least the person everyone looks to as that representative? You're constantly going to be with that forever.
Well, I had to go through that on September 11th and 12th, and when things were much worse. So I realized that I'm a representative, and I'm so proud of the way in which people responded that in a way, although I feel tremendous sadness, I also feel a lot of pride in what they were able to do. So it's a mixed feeling.
Mayor
Thank you.
Giuliani,
Thank you for coming.
Sir, Mayor, on this side.
Yep.
What was the best advice you ever received that helped you get through this horrific experience?
That's very interesting. The best advice I ever received was from my father. My father taught me when I was very young and would keep repeating that if you ever go through a crisis or an emergency or you're ever in a fire, and everybody around you is getting excited and screaming, become the calmest person in the room, and you'll be able to figure out a solution. And I practiced that many times in my life. And I remember on September 11 saying that to myself. I have to remain calm. I have to become calmer than I even normally would be. And if I do, then I'll be able to figure out a solution. So that was the best advice I ever received.
And you
Mayor
did
Giuliani,
figure out the
back
solution.
here, please, on the left.
Yes.
Sir. I was just wondering if you can summarize what your feelings are about the entertainment industry taking this terrible event and finding something in it to give out gold statuettes about. Does that strike you as strange or odd or anything?
I think honoring the four networks for their spontaneous act of tremendous generosity, both financially and emotionally, is a very appropriate thing to do. That was, you also have to understand, you were asking me this question before, beyond the actual financial contribution, it was a period of time in which people felt isolated and alone. And to have all four networks simultaneously broadcast this event said to people, you're not alone, there's a lot of support, there's a lot of help, you're not going through this by yourself. It was a very, very significant and beautiful thing to do. And there were many significant and beautiful things to do, and it's quite appropriate to honor people for that, because you encourage them to do things like that in the future. So I think it was a very appropriate thing to do.
How do you feel about the movie being made about your life and something that, you know, granted you're an incredibly gifted man at what you do and everything, but Hollywood probably would not have done a biopic of you before September 11th happened.
I don't know. I want to be in a movie, you know, I want to be in the remake of The Godfather if I get a chance to do it. I actually did have a career before that. As a United States attorney, as the mayor of New York City, I've actually been depicted in small ways in several movies like Prince of the City going back a long time ago. So with that, I'm not a, was I ever an actor? Never a good one.
I understand you do
Just
a good
one
imitation.
more question, please.
You have certainly...
You want me to do my imitation? It's very nice of all the families to be here tonight and from representing the different parts of the United States and territories.
And I was also very thankful tonight that I did not have to give this award up against The Sopranos, because I would have gotten whacked.
You described yourself as a representative, and there's a lot of power in that. You discovered, maybe beyond your own expectation, how much you could speak for people, connect to people, bring out emotions. Do you feel a mission of that, and how will you use this power in the future? Is
Well,
that a big part of your decision?
I don't know. I don't know if I would describe it that way. What I felt was that I could be helpful to people in trying to guide them through this. Maybe because I was so connected to it, maybe because I experienced some of it myself, including being trapped in a building, and maybe because I had been through it a lot before. I had lost a lot of police officers and firefighters in the 7 3/4 years before September 11. I had gone to a lot of funerals, I had been at their bedsides, so I knew how to do this. I mean, I knew what they were going through. So there was nothing special, it was just, you know, what I was supposed to do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Exit to your right, please. Now we've got the winner of Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series, Michael Chiklis for The Shield.
Wow, thank you very much. I don't know what to say. Yes, please. I did an off Broadway show once called Return to Sender, and oh, you mean acting job? Oh, well, no, I've had worse jobs than that. I worked at a place called La Strada Sportswear, and it was 12 hours a day lifting rolls of material and loading them into 18-wheelers. So that was but I got in great shape that year. So that was a great job.
Mr. Chiklis, earlier tonight on the red carpet, you all but said that you considered yourself a long shot for this category. You've got the Emmy in your hands.
Well, I mean, this has been a pretty extraordinary year. And, you know, we felt like winners walking into the room. I know that sounds like an overworked cliche, but it's absolutely true. I mean, notoriously, the Academy overlooks freshman shows. We knew that. We also knew that we were on a cable, you know, a basic cable net. And we also know that we only had aired 13 episodes. So, and we were up against some really formidable competition. So when we got the nominations that we got, we felt so elated and so appreciative and so happy that this was, you know, not something that it's something that you think you go there, like I said before, you dream of it quietly, you know, when no one's looking. And and then when it happens, it's a pretty surreal out-of-body experience.
I'd like to follow that
Michael?
up with a question about...
Hold on just a moment. Follow up?
Follow up on that. The fact that you have this Emmy, The Shield has received such critical attention and yet such controversy for its content, for its quote violence, that kind of thing. Do you think this will help the show now?
No,
or draw more attention? I mean, where are you at with that?
All of the above. I think it will. And it vindicates us tremendously. I feel like, you know, this show, I've always said it from the beginning. If it was something that was vacuous and shock for shock's sake, I wouldn't have done it. The fact is the show is absolutely substantive, and it speaks to a lot of the major issues that are going on in urban law enforcement today. We're just dealing with it in a very honest, brutal manner. You know, so there it is. I think that, yeah, it'll bring a lot of attention to it.
Michael, you stand there with an Oscar, with an Emmy in your hand.
From your mouth to God's
Damn
ears,
right.
pal. That's...
But only a few years ago, when you did Wired, there were people who wanted to basically rub you out. Now,
well, that was more than a few years ago. That was years ago.
Is this kind of a saying this is kind of a sweet victory over those kind of people who wanted to destroy you?
Oh, you know what? I never really honestly felt that anyone wanted to destroy me. I think that people were upset about a very upsetting situation. And, you know, no, I really don't even, that doesn't come into it. That was a scary time. That was a million years ago. I was afraid that there might be reprisals or whatever because I was a 23-year-old kid doing my first movie. To end up here now, after all that I've been through, all the ups and downs and all arounds in my career, though, I think that you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody in the industry who appreciates this more than I do. I'll tell you that.
Michael?
Yeah?
Right here.
Yeah. Please, guys, call me Chick.
Chick?
Yeah, that's not, I don't mean to be pretentious or anything, but that's my nickname, and it just gets my ear better. There's so many Michaels in the planet, you know what I mean? I don't know.
I'm one of them. Hey,
Right.
Chick.
Yeah.
You know, you gave FX its very first Emmy Award. How's the network treat you guys?
They've been singularly the most supportive. I mean, look at the trades. I mean, I was starting to get embarrassed at how often I was in the trades. I mean, you know, Peter Liguori and Kevin Riley have just been a dream to work for. They said, look, we're a basic cable net. We don't have the budgets that other networks have. Here's our budget. Go and make the best show you can make. And that's, you don't hear that often. You know, we were like, what? Are you for real? So they've been extraordinary. Our relationship is fantastic, and I hope it just grows and gets better and better.
Michael, I know that you haven't had, over here right in front of you, right here.
Hey, man.
How you doing? I know that you haven't had a minute to speak to your wife, but at your birthday dinner just a little while ago, she went on and on and on about how supportive you've been to her and she's been to you, and I know you haven't had a minute even to talk to her. What's the first thing you're going to say to her when you see her now after this?
We did it. because it really was a we. I mean, you know, it's my wife who, you know, I really don't, I can't impress upon you how personal this is, because it really isn't just about an award or anything. It's sort of the turnaround of a life in a lot of ways, because my wife allowed me to do it. In a lot of, you know, I've felt this tremendous sense of responsibility to my wife and my family. And my wife was the one who said, we know what you want to do. We know the kinds of things you want to go for. We know that you can play leading men. And the perception is that you cannot do that, or that you're soft or whatever. And she was the one who said, I don't care how long it takes. I don't care if I have to sell my house and live in a hovel. The kids and I will do fine. You're just going to do the things that you need to do to make this happen. And that's I mean, that's an extraordinary thing for a spouse to say and to mean it. And then we set about that course, and to have the script land on my desk right when we were going in this direction.
We have time for just two quick.
Couple of folks I know.
Working.
Just two final questions,
my
please.
sweetheart. Come over here, Michelle. Come over here.
Michael.
This is my wife, Michelle.
Michelle, just how proud are you of your husband right now?
Mikis.
Michelle, how proud are you?
Yasu.
Is it on?
I heard a Greek.
No,
Hi,
I'm not actually. But what's up with the Greek this year? I mean, you have like some kind of an angel over you. My big fat Greek wedding is doing like hell. You winning an Emmy.
Well, this is my big fat Greek Emmy right here, man.
Michelle, how excited are you about your husband right now? Michelle, how proud are you of your husband right now?
I knew we had this coming. I have to tell you, I'm so proud of him.
And Chick, as exciting as you were when you got nominated in your living room that we all saw, how are you staying so in control now that you are actually the winner of the Emmy?
Me?
Yeah, look at you, how calm,
I'm in
cool,
control.
collected.
I am? Okay. You know what? I think that I'm still in a level of shock, honestly. I'm sure I'll fall apart at some point. I just can't tell you how great this feels. It just feels great.
Michael.
That's all the time we have.
you.
Thank you so much, and congratulations. Now we'll go ahead and have the West Wing cast and producers start coming on stage, please. For Outstanding Drama Series, the winner is The West Wing.
Hey!
First question.
For Aaron over here on your left.
Yeah.
You made a joke up there accepting about how you might have go march over and give this a 6 feet under. Were you honestly surprised? I mean, did you think that they were going to win?
Oh, God, yeah. I think that we all did. And God knows that they and all the other shows in the category deserve this every bit as much as we do. And it went our way tonight. I'm sure it was incredibly close. But it's just a terrific time to be in television. Television just isn't anymore the silly cousin of film and the performing arts. There's great shows on television.
Allison Janney? Allison. There you go. This is 3 for you now, Allison.
Where are you?
Right in front of you.
Oh, okay,
Hello.
hey.
There. This is 3 for you now. Can you compare this one? Is it any different? It's a lead actress.
Yes, it is, just because of that. I mean, I was terrified to switch categories, but I had the love and support of the people behind me who thought it would be a good idea for the show and open up the Best Supporting Actress category for a lot more people. So I was just thrilled to get nominated, and this is, it doesn't get much better than this. This is extraordinary that I won this award tonight.
Have a question for Aaron. One quick question.
Eric.
Over here.
Eric Gaskins.
For Allison and
I'm sorry, I thought you said me. I thought you too.
actually both. Stockard, if you could both answer this, because you know you often hear about women in this business have such a hard time. So we hear, and you are both really good representatives of women who are really great actresses who work, and you're doing good work. What would you say about women in the business that are over 25?
There's work out